The Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WynnBET. WynnBET is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WynnBET has what you need to win. Sign up today. Bet $100, get $100 at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WynnBET. At sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. State restrictions apply. We're also brought to you by the College Basketball Experience. March Madness is heating up, and you need to subscribe to the College Basketball Experience. It's awesome, baby. It's awesome, baby. Good evening, everyone. You like that, Baz, don't you? Welcome to the.
Doesn't work, does it, for you?
Not for now. We need to find it English first. It's very good. It's very good, old chap. Something like that'll do. Welcome to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming from Newcastle upon Tyne, up in the northeast coast of England. Today is Sunday, March the 5th, all over that. And we've got Premier League, we've got a weekend of action to review. And then we've got Monday night football in the Prem, Tuesday and Wednesday night Champions League, and then Thursday night Europa League action. So loads to crack on with. And joining me, as ever, is Mr. Barry Penaluna. All right, Bazza?
Good evening. Yes, how are you doing, Malcolm?
Well, Baz, pardon me, I haven't still quite stopped laughing at Man United yet.
Well, you mentioned the Premier League review, and I did say it. Yeah, I messaged you earlier. I said we've got to start with Man United and Liverpool. We normally go chronological order, and to be honest, everything that came before that game was pretty fucking shit for me. I had a terrible week this week, but I think it's right that we start with that game because it's the game everyone's talking about. It's fresh in everyone's mind, and fucking hell, what the hell was that? I mean,
it was hilarious, is what it was. It was really good fun. A reminder, if anyone's, we are on YouTube streaming live tonight. Serial, who's joined us for the last 30 seconds of the show last time out. But he's first on the register tonight. We knew he would be. Good evening, Serial. And no, it wasn't tennis. Barry's pulled his finger out with his timekeeping. Since I introduced the fine system, I mean that's just great management, isn't it? And then B, since we've gone on the YouTubes, Baz is on time. But yeah, so I think we have to start with the headline, which was the game of the week afternoon. Liverpool 7. Manchester United 0. We both talked up how good a price Man United were, which was funny. But at some point, I've said before, if you're going to lose, you might as well get beat 7-0. So I didn't actually care. Like, I would have paid more money to watch them lose 7-0. The majority of my enjoyment came from me being petty-minded, cynical, just an awful football supporter who hates Man United. I would have laughed probably just as much if Liverpool had lost 7-0. That's the stupid thing about it. But I think the wounds are still a bit raw from getting beat off them last week in the Cup, Baz. So I thought this was absolutely tremendous because Manchester United for the last couple of months were becoming unbearable again. The supporters were becoming unbearable. The plastic supporters, which is the majority of them. We've talked before about being a grown-up Manchester United supporter is the equivalent of wearing a Power Rangers suit. It's just something you do when you are 10. It's not something you do when you're a grown-up. If you turn Bob Baz, I got some new Spider-Man pajamas, you'd think I was an idiot. Being a grown-up Man United fan is the same thing. And there was a lot of them last week. They got on my wake. So yeah, Eric Ten Hag, the next coming. Casemiro, no. Martinez, the best centre-back in the country. Ridiculous. Marcus Rashford's run of goals started with that offside one against Man United. Injury time penalty when he's not the penalty taker. Another injury time one against some League One shit like Charlton Athletic. Keeping error against Barcelona. Deflection against us. I said he was crap last week. Missed 2 sitters again today. And old mackerel face Bruno Fernandes was an absolute embarrassment of a person as well as a footballer and a captain. So that's covered it for me, Baz. Anything you want to add to this?
Not a lot, really. I mean, it's one of those 2 games. I mean, we said very early in this podcast, where it's not personal. we do hate everyone, don't we, pretty much?
Yeah, we do.
You know what I mean? So we're not coming on here and just laughing at Man. Had the game have been 7-0, we'd have equally fucking laughed our tits off. I did say this in a WhatsApp group earlier. I was like, it's one of the few games where I could equally have enjoyed either of those sides getting beat 7-0. Yeah. Shame they couldn't both get beat 7-0, to be honest. Just a funny game. I woke up late from an afternoon nap. And I missed the first 20 minutes, and I turned it on, and all the talk on the commentators was how good Liverpool were playing. And then for the next 20 minutes or so, I thought Man United played really well. They created good chances in the latter part of that first half. Wasted quite a few good chances, didn't they? Rashford missed one. Bruno, that header. I think Anthony might have had a chance. He's fucking shit. I'm going to say it every single week. Anthony is absolutely fucking shite. Do you know? I just don't get him. I don't get him. I don't know what he does. And he certainly didn't help out getting back at all at any point today. He was absolutely shit. He wasn't interested when it went 2-0 down. Bruno Fernandes, as you say, absolute disgrace. When he went down clutching his head, for a blow to the head, which didn't happen. That was a joke. But then, I mean, the heads just went down, didn't they? As soon as they hit 2, they just were not interested. And I'd said last week against us how solid they were with Martinez, Varane, how defensively solid they'd become, with that unit. They were just a shambles. I'm sure 2 or 3 of the goals were scored with one of the defenders in the back of the net. It was just shambolic at times. I mean, I backed the over 3.5 at 6-4. It was one of the highlights.
That was a great win, that. That's ridiculous.
It was one of the few wins. Really, really good result. And in play in the Discord channel, I'd said the first, it was 0-0 at the time. The first card come out on 40 minutes, and you just seen it getting chippy at that point. I said, get on the cards now. Over 4.5 was available, 11-10. And that come in, the cards was good. It could have been more. I don't know how Bruno didn't get a card. I don't know how Luke Shaw didn't get a card from that game.
Yeah, Luke Shaw could have had about 6.
Tons of them, but yeah, the cards in play looked really good and got involved in that in the second half. That was good. I mean, hats off to Liverpool. Some of their finishing was outstanding. When Gakpo, both of his goals were absolutely sublime. I mean, the ball from Robertson for his first one, and then the finish, he just sent Varane to the shop, didn't he? And great finish. And then the second one, the way to pass from Salah for Gakpo, and then just a little chip from a tight angle. Salah nearly burst the net with his. Firmino's was a good finish. Some really, really good goals. So yeah, I mean, from a Newcastle point of view, bad result for us. I went into it wanting Man United to win. That's now, a good little run of form Liverpool find themselves in. Clean sheets again. Not good for us, but how we laughed.
Oh yeah, how we did laugh. I'll just add on and say that we're not just being, we are picking and laughing at Man United, but that's what football supporters are meant to do. And I imagine if any Man United fans are listening to this, they'll say, well, we beat you in the cup last week. And you're absolutely right. It's just a thing that football fans do. So don't be getting arsey. Because it's sort of thing.
Had we got beat 7-0 off Man City yesterday, Man United fans would have been pissing ourselves laughing.
And that's what you want them to do.
And as I say, had Man U beat Liverpool 7-0 today, I'd have been saying, well done, Man United. Piss funny Liverpool.
Yeah.
Just good fun. I mean, do you think, it's a valid question, is that the most humiliating result in Premier League history?
I saw you tweeted that out. I think your brother was getting involved in that chat as well. And I was just trying to think, there's been quite a lot of humpings recently. Like Man City, you've put 5 or 6 past them, haven't they? Man City, you've put 5 or 6 past everyone. But yeah, I'd need to give that a bit of thought, Baz, because I can't really...
Like that 7-0 is massive, isn't it?
There's been 8s and 9s, but that's been against top 3 bottom.
The best one was probably Newcastle 5, Man United 0 all those years ago, but
Yeah.
Bias.
I mean, that was one thing. I mean, we've had a weekend of kind of laughing at other people because, just for reference, Sunderland, our local rivals, if you want to call them, they lost 5-1 at home yesterday to Stoke City, where their old manager came back with Stoke, and they were all ready to give the old manager loads of stick because he was a villain for leaving them in the lurch. And then Dwight Gale, an ex-Newcastle player, scored 2 goals. And then Liverpool, 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 2 go and then did the Newcastle are going up and Sunderland are going down dance in front of the Sunderland fans. And a few of the Stoke players joined in. My friend, the Sunderland fan, who plays baseball, he's a Newcastle Nighthawk. I saw him tweeting that he was at the metro station at 4:15. So that was a disgrace. Maybe they should have called that Sunderland documentary Sunderland Until I'm Cold and Wet rather than Sunderland Until I Die, because that was his reason for leaving. So yeah, we've had plenty soccer karma this weekend. But yeah, Liverpool were great. My man Darwin Núñez, ever since I stopped picking him, he scored another 2 today. I think I name-checked Kieran in the week as the person who'd said that Núñez would never, ever make a footballer, but you said it wasn't Kieran, it was a lad you worked with. But anyway.
No, it's a lad I used to work with called Rob. He does occasionally listen to the podcast. He was the one that told me early on, when we started the Premier League podcast, that Darwin Núñez would never amount to anything. And he's a Liverpool fan.
Well, maybe football's not for him because Núñez is clearly a goal machine in the making. So if you're listening, Rob, have a month off. I don't know, try something different. Cricket's coming up, stuff like that. Serial's mentioning the Egyptian king in the comments as well. Salah, he looks sharp all of a sudden. It's almost like that Newcastle game sort of fixed him.
Here's one for you, Malcolm. You'll enjoy this. Fantasy football.
Yes.
Played me wild card this week.
Okay.
Took Salah out. Took Darwin Núñez out. Took Edison out because Edison can't keep a clean sheet.
Kept a clean sheet.
So last week I had Salah captain. I had Darwin. Neither of them did anything. I had Trent. Alexander-Arnold, took him out this week. Got rid of all the Liverpool players because why wouldn't you? You've got to bring in Brighton and Brentford players to replace them. So my the net result of my wild card this week was about a -30. If I'd just done nothing, I'd have scored 30 points more in the fantasy football this week. I've got Tony and Ben Mee playing for Brentford tomorrow, though. So if Tony gets 4 or 5 goals, then I'll be breaking even with that. But yeah, to be fair, it was a big week of wild cards in fantasy football. For anyone that does play fantasy Premier League, a lot of people played the wild cards. A lot of people shipped out the Liverpool players and brought in Brighton and Brentford players who have a double game coming up. But yeah, absolute carnage when you look at what could have happened if I'd just not done anything. Bit of a blow.
Yeah, I think we'll do some Premier League stuff maybe starting next season. It was hard to come to in the middle of the season. I didn't have a team this year because I just had the baseball absolutely consumes me. But we'll pick some teams next year. We'll get a listener league going.
We'll definitely get a listener league for the Premier League because it's a good game.
It is a good game.
Very different to the American fantasy sports. But it, for all those who are regularly listening, we'll definitely get a Premier League fantasy league going next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we'll whiz through the rest of the Prem action after I've told you about WinBet, the official online sportsbook of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. WinBet active in a bunch of states. There's tons of ways to win, including live betting and same game parlays, aka WinBet's build your own bet. March Madness is almost here, plus plenty of ways to win, getting down on the NBA, NHL and XFL. Sign up today, receive a special offer, bet $100. Get $100, limited to state availability. And for our DGens only, the biggest long shot parlay of the week, you get a $1,000 free credit. Loads to choose from. Head to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet so they know that we sent you. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. Offer subject to change. T's and C's at winbet.com. Must be 21 or older and present in the state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you're someone who knows a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. The SGP and Merge Store. It does look like the Merge Store's just thrown up on Barry for the second show running. Continued our new items every day. Head to store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com to get your favourite shirts, hats, sweats, and hoodies. Just in time for March, 10% off when you spend more than $40 and use the code MADNESS. Right, okay. So the weekend started on Saturday lunchtime, which was Manchester City 2. Newcastle United 0. That's 3 top teams we've played in the last 3 weeks, and we've lost them all 2-0. So the patterns were there, really. I took both teams to score. Probably should have hit, but didn't. It was the same performance again from Newcastle. We played okay. Man City just seemed to be sleepwalking into a 1-1 draw, but we couldn't find the equaliser, and then they kind of this with a bit of a sucker punch. Man City's just still don't look like the same team. They get 1-0 up against us, and really we're ripe for the taking. We've got Jamal Lascelles was playing centre half. He wasn't played for a long time. It was a little bit suspect. And really, like I say, they were sleepwalking into us equalising. And we just couldn't, where a lot of teams on other days have. So we still didn't really learn anything about Manchester City. I thought Newcastle underperformed the XG again, which is what we said before the show. So it was a comfortable win for Man City. But Newcastle didn't do an awful lot wrong. But I just don't know what to make of Man City, Pat.
I think a bit harsh on Lascelles. I thought Lascelles had a really good game.
Oh, before the game, I'm saying.
Oh, right, yeah, because
you would have picked him. I thought he was great. Yeah, he was excellent.
You think, we're in trouble here. Lascelles up against Haaland. I thought he handled Haaland really, really well. Never give him a
correct.
So he deserves a lot of plaudits, Lascelles, for his performance. For someone who's not getting a lot of football for us these days. But as you say, not a lot more to say really. Same thing. Callum Wilson got a great chance in the first half. Took it like a man who has no confidence in himself at all. He needs to come out of the team for a bit, Wilson. And then Joe Linton's got to get on to the end of that other one, which made it 1-1. Sorry. As you say, I mean, I was very unimpressed with Gordon. Anthony Gordon just didn't do anything at all. I was looking forward to him starting and getting a chance, but didn't really see much from him. But tough game to come into. We've got better games to come. As you say, we've played Liverpool, Man United, Man City, 3 games on the bounce. Things don't look great, but if you look at the league table and not at the form, we're still in a great position and got a chance. We've just got to make sure we don't let the season fizzle out from here and start to get back to what we were doing earlier in the season.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the top of the show on Thursday, we kind of touted ourselves for how well we thought we were reading the card over the last 3 or 4 weeks that we've done well. And it didn't quite work out.
I took the over 2.5 in this one again. Probably a bit unlucky not to have hit, but yeah, a bad start and pretty much carried on that way throughout Saturday.
Yeah. Next up was the maddest game of the weekend. Arsenal 3, Bournemouth 2. Arsenal coming from 2-0 down to win it in the 97th minute. Arsenal still living on their nerves. It was a really weird one. Probably most memorable, Baz, for you losing your bet inside 9.4 seconds. Is that
yes?
It's got to be a network record, that, hasn't it?
No, so yes, it is. But there's a question that follows that because I took Arsenal to win to 0, 9 seconds in, game over. Bosh. Really, really good. However, there's a genuine question here for anybody listening now. Let us know on Twitter or in the Discord, or if you're in the YouTube now, it's probably just serial. What is the worst losing bet of the weekend? What is worse, my clean sheet for Arsenal going down in 9 seconds, or Man United? Malcolm's pick for Man United to win, which is 7 goals. So it's an interesting question. I've put it out to a couple of friends.
It is a good bet, yeah.
What's the worst pick out of these two? And the unanimous decision was the Man United pick is more disastrous than the Arsenal pick. It's close. I'm not taking sides. I genuinely am.
Yeah.
Both horrific in terms of how close they were to winning. 9 seconds is pretty epic. But yeah, I mean, what a game for Arsenal. We were both in sort of survivor leagues, aren't we? Last man.
Oh yes, yeah.
You were on Arsenal there. That was going to knock out about 75% of the entries in that league until the last minute. There's a lot of positives for Arsenal. That they don't give up. They're never dead. It's the sort of thing we've seen from teams like Man United and Liverpool over the years. Just never saying never. Don't give up till the end. Get those wins. And it's a sign of, teams who go on and win championship. But I did say yesterday as well, another way to look at it is they're making it hard. They've scraped to win against Villa really, really late on. Scraped to win against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
You can't keep doing that too often. They'll look at it and rightfully so, just live for the moment. It's a great win. But someone will catch them out. If you're leaving it that late, week in, week out.
I just think with that, but plus Manchester City just looking shaky. You don't think Man City going to go on a roll? You think Arsenal might have another life because Man City look like they're going to give them another life or two.
Because you can see the Man City, I see Man City going and beating Arsenal again, but I don't think that's that pivotal. I think both of these sides will lose more points across the season. As you say, at 1-0 up, Man City were there for the taking. We created chances against them. Man City will drop more points, and I think Arsenal will. I think that those Villa games and Bournemouth games shows enough for me that people can get at Arsenal and make it tricky for them. I still think Arsenal. I mean, they're slight favourites with the league, and I think that's probably just about right. Because this Man City, I've said it a few times now, this Man City team just doesn't look like the team that'll go on a 10, 11 game winning streak as they've done previously. Long way to go in this title race. I think there will be twists and turns left in it yet.
Absolutely right. We're going to have to bosh through these a bit quicker, Baz. We dwelt on the...
They're all shite anyway, Malcolm.
Dwelt on the pick through. Villa won, Palace 0. I had Villa on the money line. That's a little tick for me. You took the draw. That was a good pick. I love that pick. It was probably my favourite one of the weekend. It was a good team versus a bad team at plus money. I mean, I don't know what was not to like about that. I was delighted with that one. Ollie Watkins was my goal scorer. Pick missed an absolute sitter. Dragged one past the post from 6 yards, open goal. Brighton 4, West Ham 0. I took the over 2 with both teams to score. I did fancy Brighton to get back to it. I said that they were due to get back to goals, and I was right, but I did expect West Ham to join in as well, and they didn't. Baz, you took the under 2.5, which,
I did say in me sort of talk for that one. I said sooner or later Brighton will click and take all these chances and hit someone for a few. I just didn't think it was this week. I thought under 2.5 looked good with the form for both teams on that. This was the week that clicked, and no good for me. Another loser. No good for you. Chelsea won, Leeds 0. I took the draw. I was close because I didn't really fancy Chelsea, and they scraped it. We said Chelsea might just win, but you couldn't back them at that price. This result really doesn't tell us much at all about either team. Baz under 2.5. That was a nice system play for you because you just followed the trends there. Yeah, it hit 7 in a row for Chelsea. And I think it had hit good for Leeds games recently. So just keep following that with Chelsea. Under 2.5 is hitting every week. That was first win of the week for me. And then we moved on to Wolves v Spurs, and again another winner. But I'll let you. Spurs Wolves won, Spurs 0. This was one of my best bets of the weekend. Half time 0-0 at 13-8. Nice price winner. I mean, Spurs are shite, Baz. We can't keep saying it. I was stunned that when I did the preview and they'd won 4 out of 5, and I couldn't remember them winning 4 out of 5 because that's shite every week. And then we shite again. You took both teams to scores and no, which was good. Good goal from Traore. He's a little bit mad, Traore, generally speaking, with his big shiny arms. And in keeping, he scored a great. Two patterns I picked out, wasn't it? The both teams to score no had hit something like 7 in a row, I think, for Spurs games. And quite 6 of the last 7, I think, for Bournemouth possibly. The other pattern that I keep mentioning, don't I, is Wolves at home. Win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. Yeah. Win, lose. We've done 9 in a row, and I did say if that pattern continues, it leads to a Wolves win. So now 10 in a row, they alternate wins and losses. Keep an eye out. Next time they're at home, they're definitely losing. I've got a live sweat going on the golf here, so I paused it, but I can't. I've got no discipline, so I was going to go back there and try and watch it live once we finish this. But I've just I've got the Betfair numbers up in front, so I'm watching the numbers flash. But it looks like I'm going to get done in. I had Rory McIlroy at 10-1 in play. Tied going down the last, but it looks like Kitayama's going to hit it. He's just got 5s on in running, so it looks like he's going to birdie the last and chin me on the 18th hole. So that's a little bit disappointing. But Southampton won, Leicester 0. This was a weird one because it was all Leicester. Leicester missed chance after chance after chance. Then Southampton missed a penalty, then got a goal, and then hung on as Leicester missed another load of chances. I actually still think this was probably the right pick, Baz. It was a team right. You took Leicester as well. And if you ask me to do it, I'd back Leicester again because sometimes you make the right pick. It doesn't come your way. We've talked before. Element number 3 is the luck. And this was the one we just didn't get the luck. Goal scorer pick for me, Iheanacho. And like you were
how many chances did he miss?
So many chances. He had an XG on his own of 1.06 or something like that.
That's unlucky.
Horrible for a goal scorer. At a good price he was as well. Close to 11-4, I think, or 5-2, something like that. Good price. And yeah, he had tons of chances to get it. Yeah, no good.
And then one of that game today was Nottingham Forest 2, Everton 2. I took Forest. It was a good game. It sort of ebbed and flowed, really. This had, they were in the radio. This was the lowest scoring team in the league against the second lowest scoring team in the league. So we weren't expecting much. You took both teams to score no. It was 1-1 after 17 minutes. So that was toast. I took Forest. They were probably the better team, but did have to come from behind twice. So I was never really in the chair for a winner. I was just kind of happy that Everton didn't win, was my main take. Trying to find a positive after that. But it was a decent game of football. Listen, Forest is still more than competitive at home. Everton, do you know what? I watch this quite closely, Baz, and Sean Dyche doesn't seem to be getting through to his players. He seems frustrated. Dyche has his ideas about what he wants to do, and the players aren't doing it. So there's been no immediate bounce, no sustained bounce. They got that game against Arsenal, but I'd be a little bit concerned if I was Everton because Dyche just looked frustrated with his message not getting through today.
Yeah. Same. I took the both teams to score no in this one. Another very, very quick loser. But Forest at home, as I say, they're a very, very hard team to beat. Don't lose very often. Newcastle have got to go there in a couple of weeks. So, yeah, it'll be a tricky game for us, that.
Oh, yeah. But I don't know why, Baz. Right, we've got Monday Night Football, Brentford, Fulham, then Champions League, Europa League. There's 2 items on my desk here, Baz. They aren't mine. They'll be property of the admin department. 2 items that you could buy from a hardware shop. I'll give you 5 points if you can guess either of them.
A nail.
No.
A hammer.
Well, if it's not a hammer, I mean, it's that's a terrible guess. Tape measure. Yeah. And some Gorilla Glue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
what's fell apart?
And my fancy lights that I make, that I light up the casino with, have fallen apart. That's what the Gorilla Glue's for, is to fix the lights. She'll be doing that. No idea what the tape measure's for, Baz. Measure some stuff. Right then. So, you enjoy that?
Yeah, good. Yeah,
did you? I was interested. What did I say? More award-winning content.
Nothing interesting around me.
No cake this week.
Lots of alcohol. What's the nearest bottle of alcohol to me, Malcolm? Here's one
be a glass of red wine. A bottle of red wine in it. Probably a Merlot.
What is it?
A what?
The nearest bottle. The only thing that's in my reach on a big drinks cabinet here.
Bottle of Baileys.
You're miles off. It's a bottle of creme de mer.
Creme de what?
Creme de mer. It's a blackcurrant liqueur in it.
Okay. Fancy.
Blackberry liqueur.
Blackberry liqueur.
The classic in a gin bramble cocktail. Look it up. Nice.
Okay, nice. Underdog Fantasy, back. Your home for off-season NFL best ball drafts. Got you covered in a ton of other daily games, including NBA, NHL, and PGA. Underdog Fantasy is a great way to get down on your favourite player props if they're not available in your state. Head to underdogfantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Underdogfantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. Okay, we're back in the in Europe in a little while, but we've got Monday Night Football here. 8 o'clock kick-off, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Brentford and Fulham. Brentford are 19-20, minus 105. The draw is 13-5, plus 360. And Fulham are 11-4, plus 275. Brentford are unbeaten in 11. They've slowed down a little bit. They've drawn 3 of their last 4. That's still an incredible record, really, for Brentford. Fulham are going well as well. 7 of their last 8 have gone under. We've talked before about them being kind of under machines. They've got Solomon, kind of a new name, a new face who scored a few goals for them. Israeli international, I believe, got the winner in the smash and grab at Brighton recently. They drew 1-1 with Wolves. Brentford's home record is incredible, really good. 1.92 points per game for Brentford. But I mean, Fulham's win at Brighton was really good. I took Fulham for a draw and hit it against Wolves last week. And I think Fulham can do the same again. Looks kind of a similar game. It's got the look of a 1-1 draw written all over it for me, Baz. I know, like I said, Brighton's home form is the fly in the ointment because they are a different team. But Fulham are just in good form and are very, very similar teams here. So I think this is a similar comp, and I'm going to take the draw, Baz, at 12-5 plus 360.
Yeah, I don't mind that. It's a tricky one, this one. I mean, as you say, both in good form. Like, Brentford unbeaten in 8 league games. Fulham have had a few cup games in their recent form, but they've gone 7 unbeaten in all competitions, and plenty of leans towards the unders. 4 of the last 5 have gone under for Brentford, and 6 of the last 7 went under for Fulham. So a few leans to the unders, but I think there could be goals in this. The head earlier in the season was 3-2 to Fulham. Plenty of goals there. 2 teams in good form, both with a push on to try and nick a Europa League spot this year. And I think it's a tricky one to handicap. I think you're right. Brentford at home are a good side, but I just felt they were a little bit short. I couldn't really back them out. I keep expecting Fulham to drop off, but they keep hanging around. And I think they'll keep doing that here. I like Brentford, but I can't see. I think Fulham will get on the score sheet. Fulham have scored in all of the last 5 games, and Brentford have failed to score in only 1 of their last 11 games. So I thought the both teams to score was the best play here. It's a little bit short. It's 3-5. But that's a play for me. Both teams to score. I think similar to you, it might be a 1-1, 2-2, something like that. Both teams to score is the bet for me.
If we had a bad week, Baz, we can rebuild brick by brick. So 3 to 5 shots are allowed as we set our foundations.
3 to 4, just to clarify.
3 to 4. You did say 3 to 5, Baz. Sort of accusingly mentioning things like that to me. My golf bet's gone tits up. That would have been a nice little boost to the week. But anyway, we'll file that away in Sunday's losers, and we'll get back to winning ways with that draw tomorrow. So then it's Champions League. It's the second leg of the games we saw 2 weeks ago. 2 games on Tuesday, 2 games on Wednesday. Tuesday night starts with the 8 p.m. kickoff, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, between Benfica and Club Bruges, where Benfica are the 11-25 favourites, minus 227. The draw is 15-4, plus 375. And Bruges 11-2 plus 550. Baz, short favourites, Benfica, justifiably so.
I think so. I mean, my handicap for this one's quite brief, really. Benfica 2-0 up from the first leg. Since that first leg game, they've won 3 out of 3 in the league, all by 2 goals. They've actually won 7 in a row in the league, and all of those wins have been 2 or more goals, 2 or more goal margins. We talked before the first leg about how poor Bruges had been before that game. They'd had just 1 win in 11 before the first game. Since then, they've played 3 as well. Won 1, lost 1, drawn 1. Did lose 3-0 at the weekend to Oostende. If that's how you say it.
No, I wrote down Oostende. I thought it was notable to write down in order to say Oostende out loud, so I have done twice now.
These second legs can be a little bit risky, can't they? Especially where the home team's already got a good lead built up, as Benfica have here. But I think momentum's a big thing. Benfica want to keep up their winning form. Won't take any chances here. I'm just going to stick with the form. They always win by 2 or more at the moment. I think they'll do so again. Don't think Bruges are very good, and Benfica at home will sort of cruise through this one. I think 11-10 plus 110 on the handicap, minus 1.5. So Benfica to win by 2 or more. 11-10 is the bet for me.
Okay. Benfica. Bruce managed by Scotty Parker, ex-Newcastle United. The kids' football last week, the coach was teaching them to do the Xavi manoeuvre, sort of the full 360. And I had to interrupt and say, that's not a Xavi, that's a Scott Parker. And about 6 or 7 of the dads looked at me as if to say, yeah, you're right, it's definitely a Scott Parker, not a Xavi. Yeah, and he's taking them backwards. I'm sure they sold a big clumsy striker to Southampton as well. They're not in great form. They lost 3-0 to Ousted. Said it again. I think you'd have made this pick, Baz, if Bournemouth hadn't burned your fingers. I think it's got to be Benfica to 0. I just don't know why. Because you've got no real. What's the word I'm looking for? No real. I can't think of the word. Like an excuse to get into this game. Benfica will score early, and that'll be the end of it. So I'm going to take Benfica to win to 0. Price is 11-8, plus 137. Benfica have won 7 in a row at home and just conceded once in that spell as well. So yeah, the win to 0 looks like a good price. 11-8, plus 137. The second game on Tuesday, same kickoff time, is Chelsea against Borussia Dortmund. Chelsea 9-10, minus 110. The draw's at 5-2, plus 250. Dortmund are 16-5, plus 320. Dortmund lead 1-0 from that great Adeyemi goal in Germany in the first leg. I had a few really simple handicaps tonight, Baz. I normally sort of set aside half a page of notes for each handicap. I reached a few conclusions in 2 lines a couple of times. This was one of them, because I'm still way out on Chelsea. I was out on them. I've been out on them for ages, and correctly so. The win at the weekend over Leeds taught us nothing. They scored from a set piece in a close, contested game against a team. Really, they should be considerably better than. And that changed nothing for me. And Dortmund win every week. My concern is this weird self-motivating thing that Chelsea seem able to do that no other football team in the history of ever's done. But Dortmund win regularly and score lots of goals. Chelsea will have to come out and get a goal, being 1-0 down, and I think Dortmund can pick them off. So I'm going to take Dortmund on the money line, Baz, 16-5, plus 320.
Serial's just put a question in the chat, which is what we want to see. Bit of interaction. We need to get more people on the YouTube. So remember, if you listen to this tomorrow on the podcast, we're going to be on YouTube every Sunday night at 10 o'clock and every Thursday night at 8:30. A bit more interactions, what we want. Serial wants to know what's Chelsea's XG this season compared to their actual goals. I can tell you they've scored 24 goals in the Premier League against an XG of 30.1. So well behind their XG for the season.
Do you know why that is? It's because Kai Havertz couldn't finish his dinner. Honest to God, what he's doing, pouncing about up front, bloke's got no business there. He might be able to, I don't know, mince about the wing or something. You can't put him up front. It's an absolute travesty. For them to have spent £9 gazillion and still have him trotting about up front, it's ridiculous. Anyway, crack on.
Champions League's a bit closer. They've got 10 goals against an XG of 12. I'm similar. Sorry, what was your pick on this one?
Dortmund to win, money line.
Fair enough. I've tempered mine a little bit. Chelsea may have got a win at the weekend. And I didn't watch the game, but I listened to a lot of the radio coverage afterwards and fan phone-ins and stuff. And Chelsea fans were absolutely livid with the performance, despite the fact they'd won. I heard a lot of Chelsea fans saying how awful they were. They did score a goal for the first time in 4 games. But that's 2 defeats and a win since the first leg, which they lost 1-0. I think it's a horrible game for Chelsea team. Chelsea team that's low on confidence. They did play quite well in the first leg. They'll definitely feel unlucky coming into this 1-0 down. The XG for that game was 1.5 to Dortmund and 2 to Chelsea. 8 shots on target they had that night. So they are unlucky to be 1 down. But Dortmund are absolutely flying at the moment. They've won 9 out of 9 in all competitions since the World Cup. They've won all 3 of their games since their first leg, obviously. Scored 7, conceded 2. And I just think they're a really hard side to beat. Away from home in the Champions League this year, Dortmund, they drew with Copenhagen. They beat Sevilla 4-2. And even the Man City game at the Etihad, they lost 2-1, but they were 1-0 up with 10 minutes to go in that game. Man City beat them 2-1 in the end, but 2 really late goals. Shows you they're a hard side to beat. So I think Chelsea have to go for it here, but I think they'll leave opportunities for Dortmund on the break. And I think Dortmund will get something. I think Dortmund will score. Dortmund haven't failed to score in a game since November. Early November when they last failed to score. And then you've got a Chelsea side who haven't scored 2 or more in a game for about 2 months, 3 months. 11 games, they haven't scored 2 or more goals. So I just don't think Dortmund lose here. I think they'll score, and I think Chelsea will struggle to keep up with them. I mean, they don't need to win, which is the concern for me with the Dortmund money line, which is why I've went for the double chance. It's 5-6 market, Dortmund plus half a goal on the handicap, or Dortmund double chance market, 5-6. That's the pick for me. I think Dortmund won't lose this game.
Dortmund on the double chance, exactly the same pick as Serial put in the chat as well there. Bit of a team,
I know Serial's on Dortmund to qualify as well. I think he doubled that up with Spurs to qualify in the Milan game, which will be coming up too soon. So we'll see. We'll see what our thoughts are on whether Spurs can qualify from that one and soon. See
they play on the Wednesday night, same time kickoffs, 8 p.m, 3 p.m. Eastern, and probably the game of the week. Bayern Munich against PSG. Bayern Munich 4-5 -125, and the draw 16-5 +320. PSG 14-5 +280. Baz, this was you.
We starting PSG here, did you say? Sorry, switched off.
Yeah.
1-0 from the first leg, isn't it? Bayern followed that one up with a defeat to Mönchengladbach, which has blown the title race wide open in Germany. Brought Dortmund right back into it. They've since won the last 2. Quick mention to that German league. People often say the Premier League's the best league around. The German league this year is very exciting. At the top end, you've got Dortmund and Bayern level on points, great title race. The bottom end of the table, the bottom 5 teams in Germany covered by 1 point.
Wow.
Absolutely enthralling finish in store in that league. So I am getting more and more into Germany. I've always had a little bit of a soft spot for Dortmund, having went there for a game a few years back. So I'd love to see Dortmund win it. But that title race looks really, really... It's
a good league to watch. Like, if there's a Friday night game or whatever, you just stick it on. You're pretty much guaranteed a bit of entertainment. Like, you normally get some good goals. Yeah, it's very entertaining league.
Yeah. So they've won the last 2 since that defeat to Mönchengladbach. PSG went into the first game off the back of 2 defeats, so that made it 3 losses on the bounce for them, but they have followed that up with 3 league wins, scored 11 in those 3 games, but they did concede 5 goals. This is the game I'm most looking forward to this week, and I'm taking it to be a bit of a goal fest. I did back goals in the first leg, and it didn't transpire, but in the second leg game, with all the attacking talent PSG have and coming from behind, I can just say it being a really entertaining game. Just 1 clean sheet in 9 for Bayern. 1 clean sheet in 9 for PSG. Means Bayern will still fancy themselves to get on the score sheet here, which would then mean PSG needing at least 2 or 3 to keep the game alive. I'm taking the overs here, over 3.5, because over 2.5 is very, very short at 4-9. I'm happy to take it to be 4 or more goals in this game. It's 11-10. Over 3.5 goals for me.
Over 3.5 goals for 11. You've been enjoying the goals bets lately, Baz, getting up the ladder. This was my quickest handicap of the week. I made it 2 lines, or I dragged it out to 2 lines. I watched the first leg here, Baz, and Bayern Munich were considerably better than PSG. It wasn't really very close. The scoreline was close. And, I mean, I'm guessing Mbappe is back. He came off the bench that night, so I'm assuming he's fit. Bayern Munich were, like, considerably the better team. I know you can't come. Aston Villa v Palace that we've just talked about. I know the teams are a little bit better. It's the same thing. Munich are better than PSG, like, considerably, not even close. Give me Munich on the money line. 4-5, -125. They'll win, and we can move on. Straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well. Don't like it.
Yeah, well. Your funeral, Baz. Next up is Tottenham against AC Milan. Tottenham are 19-20, -105. The draw is 13-5. And AC Milan are 11-4, +275. Tottenham are rubbish. They're inconsistent. They're flaky. So I don't know what to get out of Tottenham at all. The handicap of this game for me surrounds what we can expect from Milan. Now they're 4th in Serie A. However, on further inspection, they're like an Italian Spurs. They They win big, they lose big. They're all over the place. They're not great away from home. But I wasn't good enough to work this out. It was beyond me. I'll hold my hands up. It was beyond me. What I've done is, I mean, it's a knockout game. I expect it to be a little bit more open. Milan lead 1-0 from the first leg. I have guessed, Barry, on that basis, both teams to score 4-5, -125. And I might as well have just stuck a pin in the computer screen because it's just complete guesswork on that. Really, really hard. I'd like to know if you had a better handle on anything.
I had a completely different handle on it to that.
Shit.
I mean, I agree. I can't pick a winner on the money line. I have no idea which way to go either. As you say, the first leg, Spurs produced very little. They did follow it up with 2 league wins, and then they went and got beat off Sheffield United in the Cup, got beat off Wolves at the weekend. And they just, Spurs continue to be bipolar. We mentioned earlier in the year, they're up one week, they're down the next. So you just got to work out which side turns up this week, and nobody ever knows. Milan have played 3 since that first leg. They've won 2 before they lost to Fiorentina at the weekend. Big thing in Spurs' favour is their recent home form. They did beat Man City, West Ham, Chelsea in their last 3 home games and didn't concede a goal in those. I've wrote here, 8 of the last 9 games for Spurs have been both teams to score no. I played that at the weekend in the Wolves Spurs game and came out on the right side of that. 7 of the last 9 for AC Milan also hit both teams to score no. And I haven't went with the both teams to score no, so it's not a direct fade of your bet. I've just put, I think it'll be low scoring. The both teams to score no available at 19-20 does appeal. But I've decided to get the 1-1 on my side as well, which plays into your hands. So I'll take the under 2.5. So I've got the chance of a 1-0 either side, 2-0 either side, but I've also got the 1-1 there, which I wouldn't have if I took both teams to score no. So under's at 4-5, under 2.5 goals is the play for me here.
Yeah, I mean, it was just hard. Tottenham do have the ability to turn it on at home a little bit. We see they beat Manchester City at home. I think sort of Kane and Son and players like that can do a little bit better at home on the bigger occasion, Tottenham. But like I said, they're flaky and unreliable.
They did it in the group stage, didn't they? Went right down to the wire. Was it Marseille last game of the group stage? Where they really had to dig it out. And that was a high scoring game late on when they got through that. But I absolutely could be on the wrong side of it, but you got to go somewhere, and they are a hard team to handicap at the moment. Spurs, like really hard.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go into the Europa League now, which is Thursday evening. We've got 2 different time kickoffs here. We've got a tea time kickoff between Sporting Lisbon and Arsenal, which is a 5:45 kickoff in the UK, 3:45 Eastern time. Where Sporting Lisbon are the 5-2 home puppies plus 250. The draws at 12-5 plus 240. And Arsenal are 11-10 plus 110. I thought this was really hard as well, Baz. Sporting Lisbon v Arsenal, what you got?
Yes, I agree. Difficult. I'll explain why. I think it's difficult. Sporting currently 4th in the league. They got here by beating Midtjylland. How do you say that one, Malcolm?
Yeah, that's good. We'll go with Midtjylland.
Beat them 5-1 on aggregate, 1-1 in the home leg, and then beat them 4-0 on the road. They've won the last 4 games and only 2 defeats in the last 10, both of which came at the hands of FC Porto, who are currently 2nd in the league. Arsenal, they're getting the job done. 4 wins in a row now, 12 goals scored. They topped their Europa League group with 15 points. So only PSV beat them in the group stage. I just don't know what to expect from Arsenal here. I think where Man United, we'll come to Man United in a minute. I think they'll have an eye on potentially winning this tournament, particularly after that Barcelona. Suddenly, there's a belief there that this could be another tournament and they could go on and win. And I don't know if Arsenal may see this now as a bit of a distraction with them being right in the title race. And, they'll never have a better opportunity of winning the title than they've got this year. And I mean, we won't really know how they're approaching this until we see the lineups. But I'm making the assumption here that they'll make a few changes for this, with one eye on the Fulham game on Sunday. The Premier League has to be a priority for them. I know, we're getting into the sort of business end of this tournament, but I think they'll They'll make changes, hope they can sort of grind out a result here, take a 0-0 or something back to home and then see off Sporting in the home game. So, yeah, interested to see the lineups before make any firm decisions on it. But I've gone with a low scoring affair here. Arsenal's last 3 wins in the Europa League were all 1-0s. As I say, they only had one defeat in the group stage, and that was a 2-0 defeat. So another unders. 4 out of the last 4 to the unders. And that's where I'm going. I think Sporting can keep this tight and give themselves a chance in the second leg. And I think Arsenal will be equally happy. If they do make changes, as I think they might do, I think they'll be equally happy to come away with a sort of 1-0 win or a 0-0. Under 2.5 at 4-5 is the pick for me in this one.
Yeah, you've nailed the crucial part of handicap in this game, Baz, which is how Arsenal are viewing it, like on the back of the weekend and with an eye on the league title. So I wrote down the same notes. I mean, Arsenal, the priority is the Premier League. Now, as a look-ahead spot, they go to Fulham on Sunday. So it's not a big travel spot for them. Actually, 2-mile bus ride for them on Sunday. So that's not a huge thing. They will make changes. It's a case of how many. But handicapping this now, 4 days out. I mean, Lisbon, it's hard because of the lack of depth in that league. They're 4th in the Portuguese league, which is slightly disappointing, really. There's only 4 teams who are any good. They've won 6 or 7. But that's kind of how the Portuguese league pans out. You have to beat all those other teams. The 3 games they played against the good opposition, Benfica, Porto and Braga, they won 1, drew 1, lost 1. So you get no real pattern. There's no patterns with both teams, score or over, under. Really hard to analyse on seeing all of that. I think I've taken Arsenal to win just on the comparative strengths of the league. Arsenal, that's it. That's pretty much my sole handicapping of this. Arsenal might make 7 changes, and that point, that bet then looks a little bit ropey because Sporting, sitting 4th in their league, they'll be absolutely going for this. So, yeah, me instinct just on the strength of the league. I've got Arsenal at 11-10, plus 110, but it's not a confident play. Something like that 1-0 win, though, that you're talking about. Serials in there saying the under 2.5 as well. So, yeah, I'm going to take Arsenal. Hopefully they can squeak me a 1-0 win. Finally, 8 o'clock on Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, is Manchester United against Real Betis of Spain. Manchester United are 11-25. The draw is 7-2. And Betis are 6-1. So, Man United, could we have another laugh at them? Got a good hump in today, and I loved every second of it. Like I say, they were becoming unbearable. So, all of a sudden now you have to factor in what difference that's going to make. There was one grown-up Manchester United fan in the Newcastle Nighthawks WhatsApp chat today. So, Ten Hag will have that sorted out. And I think even Gary Neville said it in the game. Again, they've got the manager on a pedestal already. So it'll only take them 3 days to sort out whatever went wrong today. But yeah, the reaction's going to be really, really interesting. I think they will make 1 or 2 changes. I think Harry Maguire normally comes in for games like this. They'll give a rest to 1 or 2. Betis have won 3 in a row. And the key for me is their last 4 games have had the total goals 5-3, 5-7. So goals galore in these Betis games. Now, I've been out on Manchester United, partly because I'm a dick and I hate them, but also partly because I just haven't trusted what I've seen with my own eyeballs, and that came home to roost in spades this afternoon. And that carries on for me. I still don't trust them. I think they've been incredibly fortunate, and they've had an easy schedule. I saw the stat last week, 10 consecutive home draws in domestic cup competitions. Odds of 1,024 to 1. I mean, that's not to mention the calibre of the opposition, the older Charlton Athletics and Fleetwood Towns and shite that they get. I'm getting off track again. So my pick is both teams to score, Baz, at 9-10, minus 110. I can't say them keeping a clean sheet. Mine will get a goal, but I 100% can see Betis getting on the score sheet. And I'll throw out my underdog play now as well, which is Betis team total to get 2 or more is at 130 plus 333, because I think they could possibly get a couple of goals. They've been amongst the goals don't trust Man U, and they'll make a couple of changes as well, giving Real a chance. So I'm going to say both teams to score, but maybe throw a pizza bet on them to score 2 or more.
I don't like any of that, Malcolm. Not at all. I think Man United will be up for it. I think they will make a couple of changes, but after a massive effort to get past Barcelona, they won't want it to all fizzle out against Betis in this. As I say, I think it's a tournament they could go on and win. I really do fancy them to get a result here. It's a quick opportunity to try and put that behind them. It's what they'll want to do. You know, we'll see whether they can do it. I think they'll be strong enough in terms of their lineup, and the home form is outstanding. I don't see how you can't trust them at home. They've not lost at home since they got beat off Sociedad back in September. We're getting on for nearly 6 months since they last lost a home game. So if Betis are going to score 2 goals...
The pick was both teams to score, though, Baz. There's no way Man U have been solid defensively at home.
Well...
Everyone either has or should have scored past them.
They're scoring plenty at home. They've gone 15 games at home now, scoring at least 2 goals. So that, you know, in terms of the Man U side of things, I think I can trust them at home to get a result here. I do. As you say, Betis have won the last 3 on the bounce, all by a 1-goal margin. But they have been leaky. They've had no clean sheet in 5. They've conceded 11 in the last 5, and they've only got 1 clean sheet in the last 10. So I'm looking at the other side of it and thinking, I fancy Man U to get a few goals here. Betis are conceding often enough. Man U score 2 goals at home every single time. And if you do that, I think you give yourself a shot at the handicap, and I'll take Man U in the handicap, minus 1.5, 11 to 10, plus 110. Man United to win by 2 or more.
Okay, minus 1. Still don't know why you declared yourself out on the both teams to score, but
I think Man U will win 2-0, 3-0.
Okay. Right then, so I've thrown out my dog because that's the handicap. The 7 games for this week. Done. I didn't have a goal scorer particularly, Baz, or an accumulator. I did have my dog, which I've just given you. Real Betis team total over 1.5. Did you have anything fancy?
Yeah. I've got an underdog play for the week, and for me, you won't like this one. It's PSG at 3-1 to win in 90 minutes against Bayern. I get why Bayern are favourites, but with all of the attacking qualities of PSG, you can never rule them out of pulling out a win here. And 3-1's available if you shop around, plus 300 for PSG to win in 90 minutes. I just think it's worth a punt. They lost the last 2 head-to-heads against Bayern 1-0. But the last time they played Bayern in Germany was the 2021 Champions League quarter-final. Won 3-2 that day, which plays into my over 3.5. It plays into the possibility of PSG going over to Bayern and getting a result. And it's a sort of game I think it can turn into. I think it'll be high on goals. And I just think it's 3-1 PSG is worth a go. And if you want to be a bit braver, PSG to qualify, you can get 5-1 if you shop around on the to qualify market. So yeah, PSG for me 3-1 is the underdog. And I did pick out one scorer. I really fancy Benfica to have a comfortable win against Bruges. Gonçalo Ramos is the main man for them. He's scored 15 and 19 this season.
Gonçalo, Baz, give it a bit of flair, man.
Gonçalo. We'll call him Ramos. 15 and 19 this season. He scored 2 at the weekend. I fancy Benfica to win well in this game, and I'll take him at 11 to 10 plus 110 for an anytime goal. Gonçalo Ramos.
Okie doke.
That is it for me.
That is it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We've got the end of the show, unless Baz has any silliness he'd like to tell us about on this Sunday evening.
Not really.
No silliness.
No, nothing silly like.
No, I'm quite short of the silliness as well, Baz. Like sometimes the football weekend's a bit too intense. The sporting weekend's too intense to be silly. I think the more silliness we get on a Thursday night when we've been doing just day-to-day stuff rather than
I was
sporting.
A bit too intense this morning on the touchline. Like I had
you were. Did you get wrong?
We had a 1-1 draw, and I got a little bit overzealous with my protestations at the referee.
Mikel Arteta, were you?
The referee was only like 14 or 15. I felt very...
Oh, you bad person.
Very embarrassed with my performance, to be honest.
Did you? You're the reason. You see all those news features every now and again about why there's no referees because there's awful people doing awful things to these youngsters, and that's you.
I got infuriated by there was a coming together in the corner. Our player may have pushed the other one in the back, probably did, but the referee didn't think so. The other team starts screaming, go, it's a foul, it's a foul. So then 10 seconds after the event, he blows up for a free kick. And it's happened a couple of times. I was just like, ref, who's refereeing the game? Is it you or is it these two on the sideline? And then straight away, as soon as I said, I just thought, I shouldn't have said that. Why? Just stupid. And I'm normally very, very supportive of the young referees. It's a thankless task. And, especially the younger ones. So I did feel a bit bad. I did apologise. He seemed to take it well. Because he's a child ref, I have to communicate with the parents to book them in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I did drop his dad an email as well and say, sorry, that shouldn't have happened. I hope he's all right. Just stupid. And I'm not normally like that. I just got a little bit highly strung. It was 1-1. It was a tense game. Silly behaviour.
Well, it's nice. It's good to get to confess, Baz. I think you'll probably feel a bit better. A slightly cathartic experience there for you to confess. I had the exact opposite today. I didn't dare say a word to the opposition linesman because I know him. His kid used to play for our club, and he's a great big Russian bloke. And on a genuine, he looks like the hardest man you've ever. He could have given anything he wanted, and no one would have said a peep to him, Baz. So shout out to Max today.
I think my team had got me off to a bad start today. Turns up 10 o'clock, getting them warmed up, and there were just no interest at all in anything. I put them in a square, 5 players, 4 on the outside, 1 in the middle, as you do. Just one's chasing, the rest passing around. Next thing I look over, and 2 of the 5 players are about 50 yards up the field chasing each other with a football, and the other 3 standing around with no football. So what's going on here? And then I'm trying to deliver messages to the team, and one of them sat on her phone, and then
Baz.
And I'm just like, are you taking a piss?
You've lost the dressing room, Baz, haven't you?
So she was in my starting lineup, and then she wasn't in my starting lineup, and I made quite clear I wasn't tolerating that behaviour. But
were you hungover, Baz? Can we get to the root of this problem? Were you a bit hungover?
No,
not really. Yeah, hang on. Key word.
To be honest, I deal with this behaviour. I mean, they're under 13 girls, you know what I mean? I deal with this behaviour regularly on a Tuesday night, but generally they turn up on a Sunday really, really up for it, really in the right frame of mind. It was awful this morning. Hard work at times, but this is what you get when you take on a group of 12 or 13 girls to bloody manage.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go. Baz's Confessions. New thing for a Sunday night. You can come in here, Eric, and you can tell us everything you did wrong. There's quite a lot of youth soccer coaches. Kramer does his bit as well. So, yeah, we're at the vanguard, Baz. We're at the coal face of the youth soccer movement. Right, let's crack on. Let's get going because we're over an hour and we'll get in trouble. Final punt from Serial. Cheers, Serial, for joining us. Always fresh. Never soggy. He's on the PSG team total over 1.5. Plus 135 is that Serials. We'll give that Serials bet of the week. So yeah, thanks YouTube, subscribe, all of that. Get in the Discord channel. I forgot to give out one of my best Discord bets of the week. I'll do that in the week. Goalkeepers to get booked, man. Loved it, 72. So yeah, thank you for listening. We do appreciate it. New website up as well, sportsgamblingpodcast.com, new revamped website, I do believe. So yeah, good luck with all your bets this week. Loads of stuff going on. We'll be back on Thursday night, approximately 8:30 p.m. ish, 8:30 p.m. ish, Baz, for that. But until then, we'll see you down the road. Cheers.